Alright.
You got pointed at me. It's gotta be a human thing, dude. It's gotta be a human in the picture.
Alright.
Hi, this is David's 122 Amazon. We're going to be putting Porsche seats because the old Volvo seats are really uncomfortable, and we had a couple old Porsche seats laying around. So this is how you do it.
This here is the original. As you can see, it matches the rear interior seats. Here's a seat that we've already done. It came from
Much more comfortable.
Came from my buddy's 911 Porsche Targa. What was it? A 71 911 Targa.
Installation requires a wee bit of welding and it's a little bit of fabricating. After we're done, we're going to give the car a washing.
Alright, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this, the old seat out, which is only held on here by these 3 bolts.
13 millimeter. First thing we have to do is remove the tracks from below the seat. They allowed it to move inside a Porsche 911, but they're just in our way now. It's a is it 4 or 5 millimeter, Dave? 4 off and be thrown away. Then we'll remove this. This here and this whole assembly here, weld it onto here. Next, we got to grind off these old parts that are going to get in the way, or maybe be something that someone catches their hand on. They're of no use to us now, and we probably have a small fire. We're going to get some water. Okay, fire's out. Okay, Dave, commence to grinding. This is a Dave Watt doll. Got one side ready for the grinder. Dave's about to begin on the second side. That whole thing's got to come right off of there. The only way to get it off is to grind it.
Grind that down too, huh?
Yeah, definitely. Move this piece here and this piece here from this bar, front and back, but to get to it, be able to grind at it, we need to get this out of the way. Easy way is to just use a pair of vice grips or pliers, bend it. Once you get it bent, hammer it out of the way. The seat's going to be garbage after we're done anyway, so it doesn't matter what happens to the rest of this. But this will make it allow us to be able to grind these off so we can weld them to a new seat.
Actually, we're still trying to salvage the seats.
No, we're not. One's got a really good weld. You're gonna have to get deep on that. Got it taken away from the original frame. I'm gonna leave these here, left as much metal as possible. Left it bolted together because then it fits on top of this seat, almost like it was made for it. And these compensate for the lower part of the seat here versus the higher part. Then all we have to do is tack weld it into place put the seat back together, and bolt it up to the car. We retain our forward and aft movement on the seat and the lumbar support. Weld it, clean it up, and paint it. Well, the Porsche seat sits a little higher in the front than the Volvo seat did. This is the front mount. It's basically threaded bolt that goes into a bolt that's welded to the frame or the floorboard. We're going to put some oil on it, let it sit, and loosen it up so we can tighten it or lower it by turning it to the right side. Lower it down as low as we can, compensate for the higher front seat. Okay, we've prepped this for the welding. It's got to be bare metal, as you know. If you're going to try this and you don't know what you're doing with the welder, you probably shouldn't try it. Now, when we set it up and put it in the car, we realized that it had to be a little bit offset. We couldn't center this on the seat. It has to be centered towards the inside transmission mound. And what that allows us, it'll allow us to weld on both sides of this bar here, and only one on this side. But each weld is the equivalent of a bolt, so it shouldn't be a problem. It wasn't a problem on the other one, so it's not going to be a problem on this one. We fill this with weld, fill this with weld, fill this with weld, and make sure you have water handy because these seats are filled with horsehair. It will catch fire. A little bit of water douses it. As long as you don't get it too soggy, it won't get nasty and stink or anything else. After we got this set up, we realized these are just a little bit too short to be welded to this. There's about an 1/8 inch gap here on both sides. It's a real easy fix. You just get it on a vise, or like we see here, we got some rocks. I'm just going to tap it slightly, just to bend it down just a little bit. So bending this down just a hair should make up the difference and give me about a 40,000th of an inch. It just needs a little bit more on this side here. And this is soft mild steel, it's easy to bend with a hammer. And now if you look here real close, I've got just about the right gap I need to get a good weld right here. We're good to go. Concentrate more on welding this than this. Shouldn't have too much trouble. It's also best to use a gas welder because you have the cooling gas and shielding gas, so you can just keep welding. You don't have to knock off slag or anything else like you do with an arc welder. You can see those welds there are pretty solid as they can be. There's no way that's... Here's the finished product. These welds aren't pretty, but you have to use spot welds. You can't use continuous speed because you'll burn through this 16 gauge. But just spotting it here and here, this is basically like a bolt or a screw. These will never break. You see the welds up here, right here, and it's almost like a seat was made, the bottom of the seat was made to go on a Porsche seat. You can see here how it makes up the difference here. This is ready to install. And there's the other nice thing. The seat moves forward. Doesn't match the back vinyl or the back suede, whatever it is. But the car's black and the dash is black and a lot of the other stuff's black, so it doesn't look odd. It lives! Yeah, hose it off, hoser.